Hello world, this is Random Fix, and one of the coolest things about actually having a camper van is going to be the swivel seats in the front here. So I've gone ahead and installed the adapter on the driver's side and the passenger side. So this review is actually about the Pocono swivel seat adapters. You grab these on Amazon because during COVID times the Sportscraft seat adapter that I have here on the driver's side is actually out of stock. So I got this. I'm actually glad I did. So in this video today, I'm going to show you how to go ahead and install this. So I'm going to show you the whole install from beginning to the end. And for staying tuned till the end of the video, I'm going to share with you guys some things that I wish I would have took into consideration before I actually installed the seat swivel. So before you do the driver's side, guys, please watch my video because there's a lot of helpful information there and it gives you something to think about. As far as this Pocono ones, I'm going to show you guys the whole install now. Hello world, this is Random Fix, and in this video today I'm going to be showing you how to install one of these swivel seats. And this is actually a little bit of a high-end product here from Pocono Metal Fabricators, and we're going to be installing this on the passenger side here. This is a swivel, so I'm going to show you guys how to safely do this so you don't get an airbag light. And if you guys check the link below, I'm also going to show you how to go ahead and install these Sportscraft swivel seats here on the driver's side. So if you're watching this during COVID, these seat swivels are really hard to come by. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this in a separate video, which you'll find a link to below. So now we're going to go ahead and work on getting this passenger side installed. So the very first thing you want to do is walk around to your vehicle and disconnect the battery. Well, on the older Sprinters, it was a little bit easier to go ahead and get access to it because it was a quick disconnect over here. On the 2019 Sprinters, you got a quick disconnect. However, you kind of got to reach in a little bit, and it's covered by a trim piece that just pulls off. And this is the trim piece, so basically it just pops off this panel, and there's no screws, it's just a few clips. Once you do that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna reach in and you're gonna go and push this little red connector here and get it off, and you're gonna remove the positive off of this particular bolt. And the way you do that is you push this button in right here down, and it just backs off. And if your vehicle has an auxiliary battery, you want to disconnect that as well. So go ahead and remove just the negative terminal. So my negative terminal is removed. Now my main battery and my auxiliary battery are disconnected, and I don't have to worry about those SRS lights coming on the dash, because that's going to cost you some money to go ahead and reset, or you need some fancy scan tools, which I can cover in a different episode. So to go ahead and do this, we are going to need some tools, and one of the very first tools that we're going to need is going to be these E12 bolts. So I'll have a link to this in the video box below, but it comes in this nice little toolbox here. Comes with this nice little case that I've had for a super long time, and all you'll do is you'll get the E12, and you can go ahead and remove the 4 bolts that hold that seat in place. However, when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you start at the back and then slide the seat back. And as a pro tip here, guys, you want to make sure your seat is actually vertical. Go ahead and remove the back bolts here. And the way I actually do this is I went ahead and I leave the bolts in place, and I already went ahead and loosened up the front ones too now. With all 4 of the E12s out, you want to go ahead and disconnect the airbag. And the way you do that is you grab the little clip right here towards the front, right where my nail is hitting, and just go ahead and do the same on the other side. And there's the connector is out, so there's a little plastic pin here and a plastic pin here. Go ahead and sandwich the two and it just removes back. Now you want to go ahead and drop the connector right through here, and now our seat is completely loose and it can be removed. Your vehicle might be a little bit different and it just might have a big open tray here. My vehicle actually came with an inverter from Mercedes-Benz, which is kind of cool in a weird way, but it's also a little frustrating if I want to go ahead and relocate it. So I'm going to go ahead and think about that later. But now you got your seat out, and we're going to be next installing the actual seat swivel here. And the most important thing to remember is you want to make sure you keep this to the rear of the seat. So where that seat is, I would want to have this tab facing back like this. And the way you can tell if you have a driver or a passenger is if you actually read the directions. If there's a D on here, this lets you know that you have the driver's side. If it's unmarked, it's going to be the passenger side. So keep that in mind, and let me show you how to go ahead and install the rest of this. So we're ready to actually slap the seat into place now here on the passenger side on the Pocono metal seat. And I want to talk about a couple of things. So before you do this, guys, it's really important that you do anything that you want to do under this seat base right here. So in my case, I ran a 30 amp auto switch on here, which I'll have a video too. I went ahead and ran wire through the front of the vehicle here. Got a super stealth right there, shore power connector, so you can't see it. Did all that, ran some extras just in case I ever needed 12 volt up here, so I ran the 12 volt connection. I ran my remote line back, and everything's done. I ran an extra 120 volt connection out as well. So this is all done, complete. The transfer box is back there. Now we're going to go ahead and put the seat base on and go ahead and put the seat on top of that. And one thing I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be putting some anti-abrasion cable over this, some fabric tape. You could use electrical tape if you have it, and just take your time and make sure that this is basically not going to be destroyed by the ring of the seat here or the bolts from the hundreds of times that it's going to be getting turned. So spend that extra couple of bucks, guys, and do this correctly. That way you could avoid all those airbag issues, because if you go ahead and pull on this line too hard, you're going to give yourself a lot of grief. And let's go ahead and get this slapped in now. So you want to make sure that this is pointing towards the rear of the vehicle, and you should feel the screw hole at the very bottom right here. Right here. And you know you got it in the right orientation now. Okay, so everything's set up on top, and I'm going to go ahead and drop these 4 6mm Allen heads right in there, and I put a little Loctite on here. Go ahead and leave everything kind of loose and just take your time centering everything down. Okay, so once you got this all nice and tight, I went around and put about 30 pounds of torque down. You don't want to overdo it. Everything is sitting flush. And now we're going to go ahead and put the protective layer on top of the cable here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the seat in. Okay, so I got about 3 zip ties on here, that way it's not going to slide down. I got some cloth tape here, and now we're going to go ahead and put the seat on. So before we actually put the seat in place, you're going to have to grab your original seat and shave or cut these 2 pins off there, so that way you can actually sit inside this track here. So don't worry about these 2 right here, you just got to get this one out. Okay, so to do this, we're going to need some safety goggles. Got an angle grinder here. I got a battery for the grinder. Got some spray paint because things are going to get scratched. And I got a filer to do the fine work at the end. And go ahead and cover the seat. So once you cover the seat, we're going to go ahead and remove these 2 now. So we finished up with the first side here. Just know that you're going to create a lot of sparks and potentially you could burn something. So on this one, I'm actually just letting the metal shavings go into the grass and not taking a chance. Make sure you put some paint down and don't get too close to the actual track. You do not want to damage the track. And I'm using a grinder here. A cutoff wheel would be a lot better, but I understand you got to do what you got to do. The difficulty on this is a little bit more. So we're about to put the seat in. The bottom tab is shaved off. You want to have your seat in this orientation because you need access to these Allen keys down here, so we can go ahead and tighten this up.
You guys can figure out yourself. I gotta go run around for a second.
So make sure you get the very 2 front ones in, and these are somewhat in. Now I'm going to go ahead and move the seat forward so I can get access to the 2 other bolts in the back. And these are nylon nuts, so we don't need to put any Loctite on here. So these are 17 right here. So it's going to be the Allen key on the very bottom, not on top. And we're going to go ahead and tighten these down on this side and the other side as well. And with the rear fastened down, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the ones on the front here now. And the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and pop the airbag clip back in, and be very careful with that. Those pins are super delicate. And we can spin the seat around now. So there you guys go. The seat is installed, and once you have everything back together, then you can go ahead and reconnect the batteries and turn the ignition on. That way you can avoid that airbag light. If you guys got any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you guys want to watch the sports craft video, I'll have a link to that one below as well. And I appreciate you guys watching. Check out the whole camper van build out playlist here as we are getting started, and this is day 7, so we're gonna keep it moving. Thanks again, guys, and I appreciate your support. If you guys would give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button because it's free, I would really appreciate it. Thanks again. Okay, so both seats are put back together. The cables for the airbag system are plugged in, and we're gonna go ahead and attempt to start this to see if we get any airbag lights. Check it out, guys. No airbag lights. And all I did is reconnect what I showed you guys in the very beginning. As well as the auxiliary battery connection there. No SRS airbag lights. So there is going to be the complete install video, guys. And one of the things you guys noticed is that you are going to have to go ahead and cut some metal off to make this work. You're also going to need a helper, and you're going to need some spray paint to go ahead and touch up the affected areas. All in all, this thing is a complete winner. I know there's some other seats out there, I guess from Alpine, and I'm going to leave any links or any good deals that I find in the video box down below. And again, I appreciate you guys watching, and check out the whole camper build playlist below where I cover everything from seat swivels to wiring to cheap galley ideas, fans, bathrooms, crazy battery systems, inverters, all kinds of cool stuff. And I did this pretty fast, and I still got some work to do, but I'm going to share this all with you guys and more. So stay tuned, and